Welcome to the Nifty Chicks. In this episode, we are changing things up. We were recently invited to our very first Twitter Space event by Appreciate, which is focused on all things luxury in Web3. We wanted to share our conversation in case you missed it. Let's do this.
Okay, why don't we get started? So we're super excited to have the Nifty Chicks on our episode 6 of Appreciate Thursdays. Women in the world of NFTs awareness who are educating women in the NFT space. We're super excited to have you here. Jen NFT and Minty Cell, do you guys want to do a quick intro?
Sure, I'll go first. So, hi everyone. My name is Jen FT. My real name is Jenna Kozadoi. You can find me anywhere you search. I have been in the thick of NFTs for just over a year now, thanks to Minty Cell. She is the one that led me to the rabbit hole, and now I'm deep in the rabbit hole. But I absolutely love this space. I love the Web3 space, and I'm so excited that we've kicked off the Nifty Chicks show to, with the sole purpose of bringing more women into the world of NFTs.
Awesome. And I am Minty Cell. I am fully doxxed as well. I am Erin Cell. I have been in the world of crypto and NFTs for, I'm getting close to 5 years. I was the producer for the Bad Crypto podcast and the Nifty show for a little over 4 years. And Jen FT helped me spark my interest into NFTs even more. We started really talking about women and NFTs, and I basically went down the rabbit hole of all women-led projects, and we launched, the Nifty Chicks in February, and I was trying to juggle both the Nifty Chicks and the Bad Crypto podcast, and it just got to be a lot. So a couple months ago, I quit as the producer of the Bad Crypto podcast and went full-time into the Nifty Chicks, and excited to be here in this Twitter Spaces with you guys.
I'm so glad you guys made it. So I'm Kayla Trivieri, the Chief Product Officer at Appreciate, as many of you guys know. But we definitely want to get into a list of questions. I mean, there's lots of things that we have been putting together and that people in our audience want to know. So kicking off with Jen, how did you get started in the tech world after being in finance for so long?
So that's right. I have a background in finance. I've worked in kind of the traditional finance background. I worked at Goldman Sachs and Bridgewater Associates. I am also a wealth advisor for high net worth individuals. And so for me, tech is really a part of finance. Everything that we do is reliant on tech. And for kind of crypto and the tech side of crypto, it was just really a perfect marriage of everything that I'm trying to achieve on the client front, but for myself. So the two worlds do go pretty hand in hand when you think about it. And so it was a pretty easy transition because part of crypto is finance related. So a lot of, the things that we're talking about with guests on the show all relate to finance and investing and how to, think about investing, how to think about, spending our own dollars and our own wealth. So the two worlds kind of go hand in hand. And I've always viewed myself as someone who happens to be in the finance space, but someone who has a kind of a desire to learn more about kind of how tech can help us achieve our financial goals.
And aside from thinking that and coming from the perspective of like tech is kind of like finance, what was something else that also drew you into the space?
I think for me, it was the opportunities and not necessarily just the financial opportunity, because we all love to make money and we all love to make a strong investment that makes us money. But it was really more for how NFTs and crypto can really change how we operate in the world. To me, that kind of, it's really endless when we think about it. where the world of NFTs can go. If we think, I mean, right now we're thinking a year in advance. If we go down 5 years, 10 years, it's so exciting to think about how NFTs can integrate into our everyday lives, and that we're going to be utilizing NFTs and crypto as a kind of primary currency, not just like it's a kind of an asset class part of all of our various kind of investments, but it's going to be really a tool that we use on a daily basis. And so for me, that's what's really most exciting is I don't think we could possibly forecast where we're going to be 5 years from now. I think 5 years from now we're going to look back and be like, holy cow, I can't believe how much this world has changed thanks to NFTs and crypto.
And I think that's one of the magical things once you get into like the NFT Web3 rabbit hole. You see the future and all the opportunities and how cool everything could be, and it changes your perception of how everything could potentially work in the future, which is super exciting.
Yeah, agreed.
And what were some of your goals with the Nifty Chick podcast? How did that come about?
Oh man. So, Minty Cell and I we happened to live in the same community in Puerto Rico, and we were sitting together over dinner one night, and I was just so lost. I didn't even know what an NFT stood for. So I was starting from ground zero. And thankfully, I'm in a community where I have a lot of people who are in the space who helped me, like really took me under their wing, and Minty Cell being one of them. And we just kept turning to each other and be like, man, like I want to learn more. But every time I Google something about NFTs, it's just a bunch of dudes that are like flaunting themselves as experts of NFTs when NFTs are so new. I don't think anybody can deem themselves an expert here. And it was just such a bro culture that it was almost such a big turnoff. So, we were sitting there and be like, I feel like, ourselves, if we take our own experience, we want to be able to turn to women in the space. We want to be able to hear a women's voice. We want to be able to speak to someone who is like us, like-minded, and kind of shares the same values and the same goals to kind of help us along in this journey. And we couldn't find it. So ultimately we said to ourselves, well, like, let's be that for other people, because we're on our own, NFT journeys. We're so new into the space. We're super humble. We're knowing that we don't know anything relative. And so like, let's share that with other people who are specifically women who are trying to step into the space, who may be intimidated by the bro culture. Let's give them a resource to turn to. So that was really why we built the NiFTy Chicks. And, as far as what the future holds, we just really hope to become kind of the go-to for all females stepping into the space and who just want to kind of expand their network of women in the world of NFTs.
And I think that's a key thing too, of just avoiding the tech bro culture, finding a place where I'm sure other women relate to and feel comfortable, connecting with people like yourselves that they see themselves in. And want to learn from. And I think that's also such an important thing, especially with onboarding women into the Web3 space. Now, continuing on with this podcast, where do you both see yourselves in 5 years, and where do you want to take this brand?
I'm going to let Minty Cell take that one first.
Well, I mean, hopefully we will be, wildly successful with the podcast and educating, as Jen FT said, educating women and helping onboard women into the crypto and NFT space. We haven't officially announced this yet, but we are working on a project that I'm super excited about for NFTs and giving back to the NiFTy Chicks. And ideally in 5 years, that's going to be, way past what my roadmap is right now, as it stands. But hopefully we will be, a powerhouse in the NFT community.
That's amazing. I mean, obviously we all want us to be successful, and we hope you're also successful on this podcast or our Twitter spaces. So when you first got started too, can you tell me about some of your mentors when you were, just learning about NFTs in the space, or even just about podcasts too?
Well,
yeah. So I mean, it's super easy for me. Minty Cell was my mentor on the NFT space and the podcasting space. She's just an expert in the podcasting space, but being a producer for two successful podcasts already. So she really helped me kind of break into this side of the world. And then on the NFT space, between her and Joel Comm at the Bad Crypto podcast, and John Lee Dumas, who is EO on Fire podcast. This community that we live in is just full of people who are deep in the NFT space, who has really helped us along the way.
Yeah, definitely, and I would agree with that. I mean, for me, it's really Joel Comm and Travis Wright. They're co-hosts of the Bad Crypto podcast. Obviously, I was knee deep in crypto by being the Bad Crypto podcast producer, and then they started the NiFTy show. And I was just hearing all the time, the different things about NFTs and learning. So for me, they're definitely my mentors and what, brought me into the space.
No, that's awesome. And so what are some of the biggest challenges that you have faced maybe coming up in the podcast space or the NFT space with bro culture and the tech bro culture?
So it's interesting to me because I definitely feel that there's more of the bro culture in the world of crypto and blockchain. And I haven't felt it nearly as much within the NFT community. I remember going to conferences, as early as probably 2018, and it being, 95% dudes at these conferences. And I hadn't attended an NFT conference until April of this year, 2022. And that was the non-fungible conference in Lisbon. And I was very surprised by what I felt like was a much better percentage wise of men versus women. And then Jen FT and I had the opportunity to speak at NFT NYC this year. And I know we've kind of gone back and forth as to what we think the percentages there were. And I personally think it was maybe like 70-30 men, women. And that to me is a huge increase, improvement in the number of women. And I just have to say, maybe it's a little different for us because we pretty much only talk to women and women-led projects and female artists and women that are doing cool shit in the NFT space. So I don't feel like we really have encountered many challenges. And I also think that the men in the space are very encouraging of women, and they try to help and assist and bring women into the space as often as they can. How about you, Jonathan?
Yeah, I would echo that. I think I, coming from a traditional finance background, am used to being the only female in the room, and I haven't felt uncomfortable being that because I think it lends itself to an opportunity that I have that dudes don't. So I try to capitalize on being the only female in the space. And when it comes to conferences, I am seeing more women in getting into this space. I'm excited about it. And I have found, I'll echo what Minty Sel just said, I have found the men to be very welcoming and empowering. They're not in the kind of like, unlike some other industries, they're not shutting me down. They're not shutting us down as a podcast trying to pave the way as a leading female podcast. They're actually encouraging and they're actually sharing their ideas, actually helping us, which isn't something I typically see. So I wouldn't say we've faced a whole lot of challenges. I think one of the interesting things that one of our guests had brought up that I so agree with is one of the things that these conferences are doing is they're like, yes, I have a whole panel dedicated to females in NFTs. So like, this is great. I'm being inclusive, right? We're highlighting women. But when in reality, what that just does is that puts us on a stage and still segregates us from the men. And versus, having a conference space and a stage where we're collaborating with the men. And I think it's interesting because I see, companies and organizations and conferences trying to make an effort. They're just not doing it in the best way possible. But that's going to be learned over time, and I'm not sure that they know that they're not doing it in the best way possible. But like, let's put the women on the same stage as the men. Don't just put all the women together. I mean, we will have a great time on stage and crush it, but I think we can also agree that it's the collaboration between men, women, and everything in between is really what sparks the best ideas, and that's where I think we should be. We're faced with a challenge, but I think we need to take a little bit more of a better direction.
No, I completely agree. And that's something I think that resonated with me, especially coming from a tech background. I used to work at IBM for about 5 years, and I feel like I was consistently the only woman in a room. But sometimes you can play that to your advantage. And I think if we're able to address all our different, beautiful backgrounds and the diversity and what we bring to the table, we can actually collaborate in a way that will advance how we think and how we can collaborate and work and bring, like you said, if we have a panel with everybody, not just one group of people, how far we can change our diversity of thought.
100%.
Yeah, absolutely. So pivoting a bit into the world of Appreciate, since we do focus on Web3, verified credentials, and luxury, I want to hear from both of you. What is luxury to you?
I'll go first. I feel like I'm getting ready to go on something that to me is very luxurious. I'm actually leaving next week for a 3-week cruise, and I mean, for me, it's all about travel and adventure. And I would have to say I like luxurious things to some extent. I mean, I don't think I'm over the top with it, but this cruise, we definitely splurged and got, upgraded cabin. So we're not, in one of those rooms down at the bottom of the ship with like a little porthole. We actually have like a living area and a balcony. So I would say to me, that's luxurious. Um, I know you guys talk a little bit about, luxury bags, and I definitely have an affinity for luxury shoes. I just splurged a little bit last week and bought myself some little Valentino slippers that I love.
What? Oh my gosh, I want to see those.
I'll have to take a picture and send them to
Thanks.
you, but
Appreciate
they're pretty amazing.
You show us which ones. Definitely tweet a picture after so we can check them
Oh,
out.
I will.
That's amazing. And I'll echo that. Like, we do enjoy, similar travel kind of worlds, Mindy Cell and I. But to me, luxury is freedom. No matter like what deems something as luxurious. Okay, maybe it has a higher price tag than something similar, but maybe not, right? Maybe it's the quality, maybe it's the time, maybe there is real no kind of benchmark for this. If this necklace is priced at $10,000, it's deemed luxurious versus 9,999. It's not. Right? There's no real definition in my mind. Luxury is freedom and the ability to enjoy what we want to enjoy without any constraints. So as Mintisel was saying, she gets to go on this vacation. She's not worried about the money aspect of it. Of course, it costs money, but she is doing what she wants to do and investing her time in the way that she wants to be investing her time without feeling restricted. And to me, that's the definition of luxury, is being able to live the lives that we want without feeling a constant constraint from a time standpoint, from a financial standpoint, from a social standpoint, anything like that.
100%, John F.T. I love that.
No, those are both awesome answers. I mean, vacation, shopping, luxury, even free time seems to be a luxury these days,
Mm-hmm.
which I think is a few like answers we've received before on our episodes. A lot of people really do see their time as a luxury now.
Sure.
Are either of you into luxury handbags?
I think again it goes to what do you define as luxury? I mean, I have some handbags that I mean, to me, they're, I guess, luxury. I mean, I don't feel like they're that expensive, or I mean, like I'm all about Michael Kors and I like Kate Spade, but I would say that's about as luxurious as I go for luxury handbags.
And I'll share just super honestly, I do not come from money. The world of having money is fairly new to me. And so for me, I'm learning what my own definition of luxury means. So for instance, like, could I rock a Valentino bag? Hell yes. Um, is the bag that I found from like the hands of an amazing Italian woman that when I was just traveling in Italy, that says Puerto Rico in Italian, that is like literally handmade to me. Like, was it pricey? Sure. But to me, that's like luxury. It's like a one of one bag that was, created by an incredible designer. Is she well known? Absolutely not. But to me, that's special, and that's really special. So I think over time, like, this is one of the reasons why I love Web3 is I believe that all females and everyone in general deserves, financial independence. And I believe that Web3 is going to be paving a way for me to achieve my financial goals as well as my, world of finance. And so I'm excited to see how my definition of luxury changes over time. But like I said at the beginning, if you want to give me a Valentino bag, I will rock the shit out of that.
And I have to just second that the bag that she's talking about is amazing. We all
I
saw
think,
it in Puerto Rico and we're like, oh my God, where'd you get that? I love it. We all want one
yeah,
now.
yeah,
No, I love that. But sometimes I think we can have appreciation for really good quality and craftsmanship and things that we see that we can identify with that we truly love. Like, I think that's luxury. I don't think you necessarily need to spend thousands and thousands of dollars on these big designer brands to experience that and have that. And then I'm so happy that you found that within your little Italian shop, Puerto Rico handbag. Sounds beautiful.
it's great.
So moving into, the other big brands, I'm sure we all one day would love to splurge on. What are your thoughts on some of those moving into the metaverse? I know there's been a lot of projects from Balenciaga, Gucci, Kering Group, who is their parent company, of them coming up with these projects, digital fashion and things like that.
I personally think it's amazing. I love seeing it. I don't know if you guys have heard about Diamond Handbag Club. We had Angel on our show. She's got some interesting and unique designs for handbags. One of the things that I really think in that space is I feel like it gives more people an opportunity to own something that they may not necessarily have the means to do in the real world, because I think that you're going to see a lower price point on those digital goods, digital luxury goods than you would in real life. So I think it maybe gives somebody that wouldn't necessarily be able to have that in real life an opportunity to own something in the digital world.
Yeah, I totally see that happening. The lower entry point, I think is going to be exciting to see kind of some people flourish in a way that they haven't been able to. One of the perks about the Web3 space is like you can be anyone you want to be, and you can live whatever life you want to live. And so perhaps you can't afford, a $10,000 bag in real life, but maybe you can afford the NFT that is, point 0.5 ETH, and or maybe you can trade some other NFTs, sell some NFTs, wait for the market, buy some more ETH, whatever it is, to kind of work your way up to buying that NFT. And then, in the metaverse, how cool is it that you're going to be able to walk around? And a lot of these luxury brands that we're seeing, and diamond handbags being one of them, is not only are you going to get the NFT and you can rock this bag in the metaverse, but you're also going to be getting a tangible in real life bag, which is super, super cool because you can, you know, live that life in the metaverse and rock it, and then in real life, you know, rock it as well. So I think it's really the brands that are kind of bridging the gap between the 2.0 web 2 and web 3 worlds, and you know, really creating the ultimate experience for their NFT holders or clients or customers, whatever you want to call us.
No, absolutely. And so moving away from, you know, metaverses, luxury fashion, and all that space, Minty Cell, we know you have a social media agency. We would love to hear more about that. Tell us what you focus on.
So it's funny that you asked that question because I had that company when I was still living in Colorado, and I actually dissolved it when I moved away because I really had been moving away from the social media side of things for quite some time, as I was growing, you know, what I was doing with the Bad Crypto podcast. The more, I guess, duties and things that I took on with Bad Crypto kind of pulled me away from social media. And I mean, to be quite honest, I was kind of tired of being in the social media space. I worked with businesses, small businesses that I did like their marketing plans and did their actual social media posting. And it is a lot of work and very time consuming, and people don't want to pay you a lot for it. So it just, you know, I got tired of it, and honestly, really wanted to just do more in NFTs, which was something that I truly enjoy. I mean, I could spend all day on OpenSea researching and looking at NFTs. So this is just a lot more fun way for me to spend my time.
No, I love that. And tell us about some of your favorite NFT collections and what is your favorite NFT that you own?
Oh man, I have so many. In fact, I will say the one Gen FT knows what I'm going to say because I talk about them all the time. But Fame Ladies is one of my. It's definitely one of my like top three uh, NFT projects that I'm a part of. I have a lot though. My BFF and You is one of them. World of Women, um, Boss Beauties. Those would be my and crypto chicks. I have a I have a crypto chick that I say she's my forever chick. Um, and then uh, probably I don't know. I really like Jessica, my fame lady. We named her Jessica. I don't know if you've heard of Althea Aletheia.ai. You can bring your fame ladies to life and have them like they learn through AI. And so that is, I think, really cool. And I think that's, you know, the future of NFTs and what we're doing is that you'll be able to bring those characters, avatars to life and interact with and engage them, which I think is really cool.
No, that's awesome. I mean, there's lots of fun collections. There's a few you named out that I also am a really big fan of. So, love the community. And I think that's a really big part of NFTs and collections and the artists who produce them.
Yeah.
How have you worked on building your community for the Nifty Chicks and your brand?
I would say primarily, I mean, obviously, like we're out there talking to all these leaders in the space. The main way that we have found, I think, is by going to conferences and meeting people because that's the, you know, the best way. I mean, you go to a conference and you're able to meet a ton of people in a short amount of time, and usually the people that you're trying to connect with are there. So, you know, we, like I said, NFT NYC, Gen FT and I were lucky enough. We got to meet, you know, Ashley and Danielle from Fame Ladies Squad, and we invited them to be on the show. And that has led to a lot of other connections, you know, Metadoc Peace, we had her on the show. We met her at in New York City. We were able to meet Betty from Deadfellows and get her on the show. We're still trying to get Lisa Meyer from Boss Beauties, who said yes, but I haven't been able to lock her down. So that's, I think the best way for us is just getting out there and, meeting people and telling them and talking to them about what we're doing and yeah, just putting the word out there.
That's so important. I think it is really just about being boots on the ground, making those connections, building your community. How are you guys planning on reaching new people in the future, and how would you like your community to grow?
Um, let's see. Gen FT, we haven't really even talked about that.
Yeah,
I
well,
mean, I definitely,
we have
I would,
some, goals on the social media front. We have some goals on like building out a Discord. I think
yeah,
it's today, I think it's hard to be successful in the NFT space without having a Discord channel and a Discord community. So we know that we've got some work to do there because as Minty Sal was saying, like what we're doing is like in real life work. Boots on the ground, just like you mentioned, very, very Web 2 world. And we have not put a lot of effort into building our Web3 kind of brand in the Web3 world outside of, shouting out our episodes on Twitter and Instagram, and we're on Facebook, all of those kind of great social platforms. But that is something that we hope to do is really build out our Discord, community and really start some more Twitter spaces, things like that. So we've got a good plan. We just need to really execute.
right. One thing I did want to add is I think, a big part of one of the ways of growing is doing things exactly like this, getting on other people's Twitter spaces, getting on other people's podcasts, because then you're letting their audience know about you and discover you, and so that is something that we have been doing more of. We need to do even more of it, but I think that it's a good start. It's kind of those reciprocal relationships with people, and I think it's super important to getting the word out and growing.
No, absolutely. And how do you think over the next couple of years, mainstream luxury customers can accommodate, growing this community in the next wave of the digital NFT acquisition?
And I love seeing all these luxury brands getting into it. We just Jen FT and I were having this conversation with one of our guests the other day, and I think it's interesting because you do have like the Gucci's, but then you also have McDonald's getting into the NFT space. So it's like completely different, aspects of the world, right? You've got high end and very low end. I think even like Taco Bell was talking about getting into the digital space. I think it's great for like customer acquisition because you're able to communicate and market to your customers or potential customers in a different way. You're able to build those relationships with them in a meaningful way that you really couldn't before. I mean, you think about it. It's like you walk into a Neiman and buy a handbag or buy a pair of shoes, and that's kind of the end of that. Like you from the moment you walk in the door until the moment you leave with that purchase. That's really the only time that you have to build any sort of relationship or communicate with the customers. And in the digital world, once somebody owns that digital accessory or that NFT, then you have the ability to, you know, talk to them and offer them things that, different ways to communicate with the customer that you wouldn't have had before.
Yeah, and I think, quite frankly, the businesses that aren't thinking on the Web3 level at this point, they're not going to succeed. I think it's the businesses that are really thinking strongly about how to change pretty much everything that they're doing today, um, are going to be really successful. And we happened to be speaking with one of our guests about this exact thing of like how the world of marketing for brands is going to change. And it's, I think, for anyone that's listening, if you work for a company and they're not already talking about Web3, then it's almost going to be too late pretty soon.
Great.
Absolutely. So snaps to that. I think everyone needs to start putting their Web3 lenses on and seeing the future and how they can incorporate that into their brand strategy. I only have a couple more questions before we wrap up for this evening. What do you think the future of fashion and the metaverse is?
Ooh.
It's going to be, I'm excited about it because I don't have a huge, like, I'm not an expert in fashion or even the metaverse. I'm still a newbie in this whole world. And, but I'm really excited to think about what the future has in store. The idea that my avatar can wear certain wearables and have kind of cool fashion is so exciting because like I said, one of the perks about Web3 is that you can be anyone you want to be, and you can look any way that you want to look. Like you're not constrained to your own body, your own style, the kind of image that you have to uphold in real life. Like you can be anything. And so I'm excited because like in a world in real life, I probably will, you'll never see me with uh, you know, um, a full sleeve of tattoos, but my avatar might go ahead and get a full sleeve of tattoos. But it's so cool because the possibilities are endless. And I think for a fashion standpoint, these brands can now reach a whole slew of people that they've never been able to reach before. And, crypto and the metaverse is worldwide. It's not just regional anymore or local to the store that you have around the corner. It is worldwide. And so I think the reach that fashion designers have is so much greater than it ever has been. And I think you're going to see some people kind of dressed in a way that they can't dress for one way or another in real life. And I think it's super cool and super exciting.
I agree, and I think it's so going back to the Fabricant. So they did a partnership with Wow, and I ended up buying a bunch. And I think about those outfits, and you were able to create like pick your. I don't think you would necessarily pick your fabric, but I know you picked your colors and the design. You had different design choices, and when I think about what I picked there, they're outfits that I would probably never in a million years wear in real life, but I would love to see them on my avatar. Um, and I just think that the metaverse allows you to be more daring. I feel like I'm not maybe so daring in what I would wear now. I feel like I'm more, conservative in my clothing or, fashion attire. But in the metaverse, I definitely, like Jenna T said, I would be more daring and more bold. And it really does open up, all the options for you to be whatever you want to be.
Absolutely. And that's the beautiful thing about the digital world. You can be whoever you want to be, try anything out. And that's
Yep.
the part about it.
Yeah, it's cool.
And our last question before we wrap up, what's one word or phrase you would use to sum up the future of luxury and NFTs?
One word. Okay, one word or phrase. I would say unlimited possibilities.
Ooh, that's a good
That's a
one.
good one. That is a good one.
Yeah. And I will go with I like Minty Cell's terminology, so I'm going to steal it. I'm going to go with daring.
Love it.
Love that. That's a great one. I think that's it for episode 6. We appreciate both of you for being on our Twitter Spaces. Thank you again for your time.
So, Jen FT, that was fun for our first space, don't you think?
I know. I want to do more of them. It was actually pretty cool to do audio only. So we've been doing video. If anybody's listening on their favorite podcast player, we also have a YouTube channel where you can see our faces. And so it was really cool to do just audio only. I was kicking back in my seat with my feet up on the desk. I was enjoying the view while I was chit-chatting with you.
I know. I loved it. I definitely think it's something that we should maybe think about incorporating into
Yes.
what we're doing when I get back from my trip.
I know. Tell us more about the trip. It's so exciting.
Yeah. So, I mean, you may have noticed this is a little bit different than what we normally do on Fridays. And the reason for that is we had to pre-record some of our Friday shows while I am cruising the Mediterranean for a few weeks.
Yes. Oh, I cannot wait for pictures. I really hope that you share all the awesome things that you're doing on Insta and Twitter. We are so excited to follow along.
Yes, I will. I will do my best. It's once you kind of get in that vacation mode, you're like, take a picture, but then forget to post. So I will do my best. I'm not making any promises.
That's right. Understood.
Yeah. So that being said, I just want to make sure that you are following along on our socials. You can find us on all the social platforms at the NiFTy Chicks. That is the NiFTy NiFTy Chicks CHICKS.
And as always, thank you so much for listening to the NiFTy Chicks. Always remember, invest in yourself. You are worth it. Please listen carefully to the following disclaimer. Neither the host nor the guests of the NiFTy Chicks podcast are acting in the capacity of financial advisors. We wish to remain transparent and impartial to the NFT community at all times, and therefore, the content provided by the NiFTy Chicks hosts and guests are intended for general information purposes only. Nothing written or discussed by the NiFTy Chicks hosts and guests should be construed or relied upon as investment, financial, legal, regulatory, accounting, tax, or similar advice. Nothing should be interpreted as a solicitation to invest in any cryptocurrency or NFT, and nothing herein should be construed as a recommendation to engage in any investment strategy or transaction. Please be advised that it is in your own best interest to consult with investment, legal, tax, or similar professionals regarding any specific situation and any prospective transaction decisions. You must do your own research when considering investing in cryptocurrencies or NFTs. We are simply sharing our journey with you as we learn more about the world of NFTs. Happy minting.